What's up, YouTube? Just kidding, I'm not doing that. Hey everyone, obviously this is a different kind of video than the normal, I guess, challenge run, but I just wanted to generally just talk about some things with the channel, plans for next year and stuff like that, see what everyone has to say about things, and just like gauge some general interest on some of those ideas. Written down some of my thoughts the past couple weeks that I've had on all this type of thing, and you know, that's kind of what I'll be reading from here. It might not be the most coherent thing, so you know, bear with me. Feel free to just throw on the video and let's do it. You do something else, you know. I'm not gonna have like Minecraft parkour, you know, on the screen or something like that. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for watching, whether you watched like 20 videos or just like one video, and from like Archipelago to Strings Attached to all the slop thrown in between, you know, it really does motivate me a lot seeing all the support and everything that's sort of just come this past year, and I very much appreciate it. So I just kind of just wanted to talk in general about, you know, just plans and stuff, and you know, part of why I'm making this video is to actually keep myself honest with it all and not get lazy, to be like, hey, here's my plans, you know, keep me to it. Obviously don't be like annoying about it, but like this is stuff that I want to do and have been lazy with this past year or so, and want to sort of fix that. So that's why I'm talking here, because like with this line of work, you know, there's always more that can be done, and that can just get a little overwhelming at times. Maybe if you're also a creator or creative in any way, from like music, art, etc., I'm sure people understand that it just, there's always more you could be doing to improve like yourself, what you do, what you're putting out there, and it can just be overwhelming at time. But I also feel like I can definitely do more than what I'm currently doing, and you know, I love doing it, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. Like, people don't do like streaming and get into content for like making money, I guess. I don't know. I just love just being able to put something out there for you guys to enjoy, and if I can even bring a smile to just a few of you guys' faces out there in the world, then that's more than enough for me, you know? Like, it's all just very fulfilling, and you know, whether you guys gain joy from just like watching and laughing or from hate watching, you know, hey, it's all the same, you know? Yeah, so some ideas I have for next year or however long after, you know, I want to just do some more variety type of stuff that I've already been doing a good bit this past like year or two. I'll get more into later what ideas for that, but I mainly want to preface, you know, this won't take away from the core like Souls content kind of stuff. You know, this won't take away from larger videos like Strings Attached, and obviously like the Souls content that I'll be doing, or that I have been doing, will more or less just stay the core of what I do. At least for the more immediate future, like the next year or two, who knows, you know, so that'll more or less still be the core. I just really like to play all sorts of games, and you know, we'll kind of get into that a little bit, but it's just hard for me to really just stick with like one game or like one genre. You know, I've burnt myself out playing Elden Ring for like a year straight, and just doing that every day basically, and doing that like every day for like a year or so just made it really feel not fun and like a job. Crazy, I know, having to do a job, but it just wasn't really fun for me, and like if there's not a passion there, then what's the point? So, you know, obviously this is years ago, you know, took a bit of a break, like a month or two, and just kind of came back with some more energy, and just realized, you know, I don't have to always do or I don't only have to do Elden Ring or other Souls kind of stuff. I can just, you know, I can do that kind of stuff a little bit and have fun with it, and then when it's starting to not be fun, I'll just go do something else. It's not like I only have to do the one thing. It was just definitely hard for me at first to be like, why do something else when this is what's working for like content and stuff. And this was kind of more before I had really started making YouTube videos, kind of more just the streaming side of stuff. But yeah, that's just something that, you know, I realized a few years back, like, it's mostly about what you're having fun, and you guys aren't gonna want to watch someone who just hates themselves playing the same video game for like 20 hours a day, you know? So yeah, some more specific ideas. Obviously I want to do more Strings Attached stuff, as there really isn't an excuse to why there hasn't been one like every month or so, or every couple months even. It's mainly just like, it is a lot of ideas and a lot of like moving parts that can definitely be optimized, but the ideas definitely take some time, and you know, but that's really just like on me, you know, it's not really on anyone else. Sure, there's scheduling with people once I get everything actually in place, but it's definitely mostly on me. So I definitely want to do more strings attached with, you know, the Lies of P one will be coming. You know, I ideally want to aim to do that sometime in February, or who knows when the video would be after that. But yeah, but I also want to branch out to tons of other games with strings attached. That's kind of mainly, not mainly, but that's kind of a reason why I even started doing it in the first place, because I have all sorts of ideas for these various games that I just love playing. You know, I don't only play Souls games. I know, crazy, right? But I grew up on like tons of Nintendo games and various stuff like Minecraft. So yeah, like some games that I would want to do would be like Minecraft, you know. I think that could be fun to do with strings attached for that. Could be fun to do something, a Zelda game of some sorts, a Pokemon, etc. Those are kind of like the main three other things I've had in mind, I guess, besides Lies of P, for things that aren't just Elden Ring. But if you guys have other games that you think would be fun and a good format for strings attached, you know, let me know. And, you know, I'll keep it in mind. Obviously, I'm not gonna do every single little game. Like, I'm not gonna do like a Ratchet and Clank strings attached, right? Like, who fucking cares? Sorry to the 3 Ratchet and Clank fans watching. But yeah, strings attached is something that I'm always kind of thinking about, at least a little bit in the back of my mind. Have some fun ideas planned for the future. I can't talk too much about certain things, but, you know, it's always just fun to play with friends. And I mean, I guess I'm not playing, but, you know, to run with my friends and just have a good time and provide some of those goofy moments to you all. So yeah, just let me know, I guess, other games you think would be good for that kind of format for those who've seen a couple of them, or at least just one. It's kind of just that kind of vibe, at least like the newer ones. You know, it's something that's been refined over time, right? It started out pretty rough and yeah, just more bare bones, but it's in a good place now. I like the format of it. So yeah, for some of the variety stuff that I've been wanting to kind of get into more, and obviously I've been doing not Souls stuff only the past like year or two, with, you know, playing all sorts of games, like with the chat chooses what Steam games I play, even if I'm only playing them for a little bit, right? It's still like tons of other stuff, or even something like the Archipelago stuff that we've been doing lately, you know? It's sure one of us might be playing a Souls game, but that's not like a Souls video, if that makes sense. And so one idea, you know, I kind of want to get back into, and something that I also have done in the past is, you know, Speedrun Squared. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically just speedrunning a speedrun, hence the name. Just like one day to learn a speedrun, say like 12 hours, however long I would do it. You know, I've done some in the past with like Dark Souls 1, I did Dark Souls 3, and Hollow Knight, I think are the ones I did. I think I also did with Mario Odyssey. I don't think I made a video on that though. It's on the VOD channel though. But yeah, go check out the VOD channel if you're not aware. You know, I've been posting a good amount more on there lately, just various stream stuff. Obviously, you know, I've been streaming here on YouTube a little bit, right? I guess not a little bit, you know, just also just streaming on YouTube the same as Twitch. And sure, like you can go to the past like VODs there, but the VOD channel is more like the actual just highlighted segments of anything that's like remotely interesting, not just the entire VOD and everything else in between. That's just a waste of time. So yeah, VOD's channel is a thing. But back to, you know, Speedrun Squared, I just love like learning new games, and that's just a great way to learn, you know, I guess more like single player games, is to just, you know, just dedicate an entire day to doing that. And it's a good way to see, like, it's a good bite-sized thing of like, is this a game I would want to keep grinding more, or am I satisfied just learning what I did the one day and just going with that, and that's it, you know? So yeah, that works for very single player games. You know, I'd maybe want to do that in the future with like Minecraft. You know, Minecraft is probably one of my favorite games of all time, if not the favorite game of all time. It's hard with like Ocarina of Time as well, and I kind of like Elden Ring at this point, you know, but like Elden Ring. But yeah, tons of games I can like go through and that I would have fun doing that. I think, you know, it would be interesting to watch people learn, like, that are, I know are somewhat interesting speedrun, but it's also really fun to just kind of go in and try it myself, but also like learning and trying to see what I can just come up with in the 10 to 12 hours. And I'm sure you can expect me doing stuff like that with some other people, like either just like a one-on-one like Speedrun Squared sort of race, or like a big group thing. So, you know, stay tuned for stuff like that. But yeah, so that's just like the single player side of stuff, you know, and I love learning all sorts of games. And another similar challenge that can be applied to like multiplayer stuff or like competitive type of things, because, you know, I'm a very competitive kind of person, if you couldn't tell. You know, I just like getting good at all sorts of games. And obviously it's different to like be good at something like Elden Ring compared to a more like multiplayer game. Like, for example, I've played a lot of Dota in the past. So with the more multiplayer competitive games rather than just a single player game, I've seen, you know, some people doing challenges of, oh, let me get to this rank, like get to like X rank in X amount of time in X game, right? And so, you know, like triple X run, I think I'll call it. But yeah, that kind of format of just try to reach a certain rank in a game in a certain amount of time, and I think that'd be fun. You know, some multiplayer competitive games that come to mind, I mean, one would be like Minecraft, with Minecraft speedruns. There's like an actual like ranked ladder you can queue on Minecraft speedruns. Is kind of cool. Yeah, Minecraft is the first one that comes to mind that I think would be fun, and people would probably enjoy seeing a bit of that. I don't think it'd really be a video unless I were to do a sort of scripted type of video talking about the journey and where like I got to, etc. It wouldn't just be the more, I guess, normal edited kind of challenge run kind of stuff that, you know, it just wouldn't really make sense to make a video in that style for something like that. But yeah, obviously that can apply to tons of other games. I mean, I got the idea from tons of other people out there doing various stuff, namely like Ludwig doing it with League of Legends, of trying to hit like whatever rank in X amount of time. And yeah, I mean, I'll ramble a bit here too. It's like, I think it could be fun to learn League, which is like crazy to say, I know, but as someone who's played Dota since like 2013-ish, so like 11 to 12 years now, if not more, you know, on and off, I'd never like fully like really dove in for too long, and I haven't even played in like 6 months or so now. But I guess for context, I was like Immortal, and I'm not like trying to brag, I'm trying to give context, which is like the highest rank, but I was definitely on like the lower end, like kind of barely in there, not like pros or anything higher. Immortal is like a pretty wide range of skill in Dota compared to a lot of other games where like the highest rank is at. So yeah, I've always had a little bit of curiosity with League, of just like learning it and just to seeing how it differs from Dota and whatnot. So, you know, it could be fun to be like, oh, see if I can hit Diamond in a month or something, right? And obviously that wouldn't take away from other cool content, and I don't know if I'd even make a video on that. That would just be like the stream side of stuff. But yeah, just some surface level thoughts. I guess let me know what games you think that'd be cool to see me play. The only one I probably really wouldn't do off the top of my head is Overwatch, because I've been there, done that. Overwatch is kind of, that was like the first game I really kind of got good at. For those, I guess, who don't know, I was top 500 a good bit back in the day, but but yeah, I played that game for a good few years until, I guess, for those who know the game back in the earlier days, until like the GOATS was a meta where it was boring and not too fun. And then also like Smash Bros. Ultimate came out, I started playing that instead, which then COVID happened, and so kind of had stopped playing that because, you know, COVID. And then, you know, started getting into Dota and a lot more competitively, and that's kind of where I went to Immortal with. So yeah, I know what I do with Souls and like video stuff in general. A MOBA such as like Dota or League wouldn't be great for like consistent content, but I think it'd be fun to just dive into that sort of, not even just a MOBA, just like any sort of competitive game that I would have fun doing and like get good at for like a few weeks, or like, you know, try to get good at for a few weeks to a month, and see what I can get to like challenge myself to see, oh yeah, get to Diamond in this game in this amount of time or something like that. Whatever rank I think I could achieve, or maybe a bit higher, just to like push myself and kind of, you know, prove to myself like, oh, can I do this, and like will I have fun doing it? So I don't know, that's just like the competitive person in me, and just kind of rambling. I'm sure most of you don't even give a shit. So yeah, just let me know if there are any games that you think would be fun to watch me play and like get good at, and, you know, learn in that way. You know, I'm kind of open to whatever ideas. Like, there's no bad ideas, I guess, except Overwatch, obviously. But yeah, I'm just like kind of rambling, and so feel free to ramble in the comments about whatever. I'm sure I'll read them all, as I always do. But yeah, back to more just other content kind of stuff. I mean, I want to like, this doesn't really matter to talk about, but, you know, I want to do more like shorts and I guess like reels, I guess, as well. You know, I've been using Instagram a bit lately, which I guess if you aren't aware, you know, go follow me on Instagram or whatever. I've been trying to use that more to like, yeah, obviously just post like the shorts there as well, just because it's just like, might as well. But another reason why I started doing it is because I, you know, have been going to various like trips with friends or like various events. I mean, a lot of times it's the same thing, and, you know, I just wanted to have a sort of place that consolidated all that to like look back on and just like be like, yeah, that was cool, that was fun, etc. So yeah, I just figured I'd let you guys know here if you weren't aware of, I guess, Instagram. Same with like the VODs channel, you know, all that stuff. Obviously I want to self-promote on my own video, you know, like and honestly I should have been doing stuff with Instagram like years ago, but I've just, again, like I was saying earlier, I've just been lazy, and so that was kind of a first step of like, yes, I can do more and I should be doing more because it's like easy and obvious, etc. Now that's just me like being hard on myself, sure, and it doesn't really matter for the viewer standpoint, but you know, I'm just voicing what's on my mind, you know. And you know, and speaking of things that are just like on my mind, or just, you know, things that I've promised in the past that have been like a bit delayed, the biggest thing is the Elden Ring voiceover mod, where, for those who don't know, I had a goal for 50,000 subs on YouTube, and obviously that was like a good good bit ago now, to go and do all the, at least the NPC dialogue voice lines in Elden Ring and replace them with my own. And for a while that was just kind of like in limbo because of, you know, just technical issues with it, because it was actually a lot more complicated than just, oh yeah, record the line, put it in the game. Like it just wasn't super feasible. I'm not going to get into why exactly, doesn't matter. But now it's very much possible, and now it's really just kind of on me to do those voice lines and not so much on the technical side of things. And so this next year or so, definitely want to be focusing more on that. So I will promise to have this by the end of the year, ideally earlier than later. There are a fuck ton of voice lines in Elden Ring, way more voice lines than I thought initially when agreeing or kind of saying, yeah, I'll do this if we hit 50,000 subscribers or whatever. Yeah, if I knew ahead of time, I mean, I probably still would have done it, because I do like, you know, doing the voices and whatnot. Obviously, I'm sure some of you guys who watch the videos know that I also just like parrot whatever I hear when I like play games and stuff like that. And also, you know, I feel like that'd be a good stepping stone to get into voice acting and whatnot, because that's something that I think could be a lot of fun to voice act for like various games and shows and whatnot. But I would have to start somewhere, and I feel like this would be a solid start to really get a feel for it, to see if that's something I would really actually want to do, and then you know, put myself more out there with that kind of thing. But you know, that's down the line. First I gotta actually do this voiceover mod that I promised, and also it'd be really just fun to have that out there for, I guess, you guys to use at home if you want. But it'd be fun to just to have like in my own game when I just play, just for random videos and whatnot. But yeah, I think that about covers everything. I definitely talked more than I had initially planned. You know, thanks for watching this, and just in general, everyone, like, I very much appreciate it. It's just so cool to see, you know, everything that's come together these past few years, from just making videos and whatnot for you all to watch, and just all other sorts of stuff that's come with that. You know, for example, like, there's always a big group of people in the Discord just hanging out playing games and stuff, and that just, I don't know, that just like really cool for me to see. That just like me just making dumb videos just brings together other people who like it, and then just them doing their own stuff, and like, I don't know, it's cool. They also do weekly archipelagos for those who may be interested in joining. I mean, it's feel free for anyone to join. Like, every Saturday they do it. Now, maybe this invites a lot more people than normal, but there's usually like 10 to 20 or so who play. Who knows, the more the merrier. Maybe that's worse for them. Maybe that's more work than they'd like to have more than that. But feel free to join like the Discord and all that as well, because, you know, at some point it would be fun to do a big community archipelago with you guys, you know, and set it up to have potentially like hundreds of people doing an archipelago all in one sitting. You know, I've seen some other people do that, like 360 Chrism. He does, that's like the biggest one's like 700 people or something was his most recent one. So yeah, that's something that I think would be fun to do at some point. So yeah, I didn't think I'd really talk about too much of that stuff that I had than kind of just what I had written. You know, I'm not really the best at sort of just talking like this, as I'm sure you can tell by tons of cuts and me not really looking at the camera. It feels a little weird to me sometimes. I don't know. I just play video games. But, you know, for anything I've talked about, or even just other stuff that tangentially is related to what I talk about, feel free to just comment on literally anything about it. I'm making this video to invite that kind of discussion. That's kind of the whole point, you know, just to connect to you guys, you know, and I'm happy to hear any and all feedback, even if it's like harsh criticisms or just like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, you know. So yeah, just thank you again so much, everyone, for watching. You know, be sure to subscribe, of course, like, if you haven't. I mean, if you're watching this and not subscribed, like, what are you doing? Like, that, this is kind of like for the people who care, more or less. Although I am interested in hate watchers' opinions as well, so feel free to give feedback as well if you're one of those. But yeah, just genuinely thank you again so much for an amazing 2025, and I will strive to have 2026 be even better for you all in terms of all the videos and anything else I might put out there. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching this different kind of video where I'm just like talking about stuff. I've never really done something like this before, so let me know if you guys like hearing my thoughts on things like this. I don't think I'd really do it often. Like at minimum, it'd be like once a year like this. But anyway, thanks for watching everyone, and I hope we all have an amazing 2026.